Higurashi Sotsu is over, and the strange journey that has been Higurashi 2020, or Higurashi New, is finished. And if I had to sum everything up in one word, it would unfortunately be meaningless. In the end, these new seasons of Higurashi were basically fan service. They sometimes pleased people that had watched or read or played the original story, but they accomplished nothing. And that really sucks. Now, I absolutely adore the Higurashi series, and I loved the first season of this, Go. But I should have known something was wrong when Sotsu, almost immediately out of the gate, left me unsatisfied. But I didn't because I was excited about the prospects of a new Higurashi story, except this isn't a Higurashi story. The original series is a lot of things to a lot of people. Some value the relationships between the characters, while others love the mystery and horror aspects. And either way is completely fine. There is no right way to like Higurashi. But Go and Sotsu, specifically Sotsu, misuse the positive traits of the original series. First of all, there's the dupe about this being a remake. It wasn't, not in any way, shape, or form. It was a sequel and was clearly always intended as such. And despite the claim that new fans could still enjoy Go without knowing the previous story, and I was a strong proponent of this myself, by the end, Go left every new fan confused. Yes, things were kind of explained, but there were still a lot of missing pieces. I doubt any new fan understands what Hinamizawa actually is by the end of Go, let alone who Takano really is or why she did what she did. You'd have to read the info online or be left in the dark. Of course, you could go and watch the original series after finishing Go, but then your enjoyment of the original series would plummet because most of the mysteries are gone. Go was made with returning fans in mind, but it pretended for a long time that it wasn't. And that makes the entire season underwhelming, at least in retrospect. The core mystery in Go is, why was Rika thrust back into 1983? That's what we're told at the start. But every arc taunts returning fans by doing things differently than we saw in the original series. Because the actual mystery is, why are things happening differently? And this question matters because sometimes Rika and the other characters do things that should prevent a tragedy, but one always takes place, regardless. When Reina attacks Keiichi at the end of the first arc, it's surprising, because Keiichi was supposed to be the one that succumbed to Hinamizawa syndrome and killed his friends in that arc, but Keiichi overcame it with Rika's help. Of course, that was meaningless because Sadako had already infected Reina. That first arc gives us a mystery, but doesn't give us any way to solve it, not without relying on hunches and guesswork at least. Did some people think that Sadako was another looper? Yes, but it was based more on following tropes than clues in the show, because the show never gave many clues, because it acted like a new series. Furthermore, in order to come to the conclusion that Sadako was the mastermind, one had to ignore the strong bonds of friendship from the previous series. We had to expect something that was totally unexpected, which might be one of the best things about the Higurashi franchise, typically, but here it felt cheap. Everything makes sense after the fact, but before it doesn't add up. It's a mystery that can't be solved without knowing what's going to happen or making absurd leaps in logic. And if you've read or played Umineko, you know that those are no-nos when it comes to mysteries. Much of Sotsu bored me. We got all the answers we needed at the end of Go. Stretching the answer arcs out gave us every iota of information, but it was a waste of time. Sadako did it, plain and simple. Did we really need 4 episodes explaining how someone lost their mind after drugged with something that makes them lose their mind? Did we need to see that 3 times in a row? Go and Sotsu included things that will please Ryukishio 7 and When They Cry fans. References to Umineko and Seconia, like Eua and the obscure things she says, the talk of witches, and Sadako and Rika's farewell speech to each other. But the two series as a whole entity feel like a waste of time. Not that the story was the worst, rather it could have been done in less time. We didn't need completely remade arcs. Since the series was intended for returning fans, a lot of stuff could have been skipped, like things that happened the same way as the original series. The idea of Sadako and Rika drifting apart to the point of hating each other has promise, especially if a real connection to Umineko is being created. But on its own, the story feels like a betrayal. Either of the characters we love by making Sadako unforgivable after all she does, or Rika an uncompromising bad friend. Or it betrays us, the viewers, by wasting our time with a stretched out story seemingly made for new fans that didn't know anything about the series, that in reality panders to returning fans, the creators putting out what they think we want. I was so excited when this series was announced. I was so excited when Reina attacked Keiichi in episode 4. And I loved it when Sadako pulled a gun on Rika after Rika figured out she was the looper. But Satsu, with its abysmal pacing and ludicrous plot, with an ending that resolved next to nothing and didn't satisfy at all, ruined it all for me. It is with a heavy heart that I say this new Higurashi sucks. At least the older versions of the characters looked cool. Too bad we didn't get to spend any real amount of time with them. Well, those are my thoughts. Feel free to disagree, and if you enjoyed Go and Sots, I'm happy for you. It was a journey, it was fun. I just feel like it didn't stick the landing, and in such a way that it ends up with both series essentially being a failure. I also put a lot of the blame, though, on the fact that it was initially marketed, and for weeks, it acted as if it was a remake of the original show, and I think that probably would have been better. It would have been more satisfying. The only way I think to redeem this new Higurashi series is to come out with some type of continuation where we follow the characters, or some real connection to Umineko. But I honestly don't think that's going to happen. I think that was just fan service moments meant to please people who knew the other series the creator has made. I just don't see this going anywhere, and I don't think it was a good way to spend my time, and don't think it was a good way for most fans of Higurashi to spend their time, because nothing is accomplished. I would tell new fans to basically ignore this entirely, frankly, and just stick with the old series, because at least that has a happy ending. We could assume everyone stayed in Hinamizawa and had a great time, grew to adulthood, whatever. We can come up with that all on our own. But this basically says, no, Sadako and Rika definitely split up. They don't like each other anymore. They're incompatible. And it's just whatever. And it sucks. It frankly ruined both characters for me. And I don't think I can like either of them without essentially ignoring this series in total. Well, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, leave a comment, saying like what your favorite part of Go and or Satsu. And if you disliked it, maybe say what your least favorite part was. I gotta say for sure, I'm a big horror person. I love blood and guts and gore. Way overdone, unrealistic. It looked terrible. It honestly took me out of the story when there's just, 7 gallons of blood all around a room and a person still lives. Never mind, even if the person died, it wouldn't be that much blood. But yeah, it really took me out of the reality of it, which sounds strange because it's not very reality based, but in the original series, all the blood and gore was more down to earth, more believable. Yeah, and Go and Satsu really didn't have that, and I didn't like that. But yeah, not a complete and total waste of time. I enjoyed the episodes, but I cannot see myself ever rewatching any of this for any reason. And I would definitely turn people away from it. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you like more of this stuff, maybe I'll go back and look at the original Higurashi series and just bring out the finer points of it, and maybe think about what they could have done better with the remake. I don't know. If you have any ideas, please let me know. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, everybody. And, don't put your friend through hell trying to convince them to do what you want, because that's not good. It's a bad look. It's a very bad look. Don't do it. Don't be a Sadako.